Is your property tax assessment too high? Is it too low? How do you know, and should you contest it? In this video, I'm gonna help you figure out whether or not your tax assessment is correct, and if it isn't, whether or not you should actually contest it. I'm also gonna give you the ammunition so that if you do contest it, you'll have the best shot at convincing the government that they were wrong. If all that sounds good, please hit the like button. If you're interested in real estate information, please hit the subscribe button. My name is Jeff McLennan. I am a realtor with RE/MAX All Points in New Westminster, and let's get into it. The first thing you need to do is figure out whether or not they got your tax assessment correct. And if you're looking at the notice that you got, there are a few things that are a little bit misleading on there. I'm gonna use New Westminster as my example as I'm going through all of this because that's the market I work in the most and it's the one I understand the best. But if you live in a different city in the Lower Mainland, all of these things will still apply to you. Just the percentages I go over might not be exactly the same. So the first thing you wanna look at on the right-hand side near the top on your property assessment tax notice is a section that says your property value change. Now you're gonna see you on the left and the average for your city on the right. So for example, in my notice, my property value, I'm in a townhouse in New West, had a 0% change. So right there, if you're in my shoes, you might be thinking, oh man, I'm not keeping up with the market. This is not correct, and I'm gonna show you why. The first thing we need to know about understanding residential real estate values is that not all things are created equal. Yes, the average home went up 2% in New Westminster, but to really understand what's going on, we need to take a closer look at what's happening in the individual condo, townhouse, and house markets. The first thing I did was jump on the Real Estate Board's Housing Price Index and compare what they saw to what the government did. Property assessments are done on July 1st. So I went to New Westminster Stats, I looked at the HBI for both July 2023 and 2022. And when I compared those stats, sure enough, prices changed by 2%. Okay, great. The Real Estate Board and the government completely agree on what's going on in New Westminster. Go figure, they're just looking at averages. This is just math. It changes when I filter for just houses. When I look at July 2023 for houses and July 2022, the prices went up way more than 2%. We had a 7% increase in the average detached home value in New Westminster. So what that tells me is if I'm in a house in New West and I look at, oh man, the average home went up 2% in New Westminster, but my value dropped by 7%, what is the government thinking? Well, if it went up by 7%, they're about correct. Now, if you went up by like 10 or 11%, maybe there's something wrong there, or maybe if you only went up by 5%, maybe there's something wrong there too. So I went and I looked at townhouses next. And townhouses last year had almost no change in New Westminster. Prices went up not by 2%, but by 0.2%. I then checked condos, and condos are almost exactly the same as townhouses. They had a slightly higher increase from July 23 to July 22. They went up by 0.3%. So if you're looking at your condo or your townhouse property assessment and it didn't change much, you're not falling behind. There's nothing to worry about. Just houses' 7% increase is dragging up the average for everybody else. So the next question is, should you contest it? The number one reason why not to contest it is that you think it's too low. And you might be saying to yourself, Jeff, that's silly, who would do that? I actually get that question from people who are thinking about selling on a very regular basis. They're getting ready to sell this year, or they don't think their property assessment went up in line with others, and they're worried that it will hurt your resale value. Your property tax assessment and your resale value are completely different things. Do not worry about it at all. If you argue for a higher tax assessment, you are not increasing the value of your home. You are only increasing the taxes that you pay. So who should contest? Well, if you're in a house in New West and your value went up by more than 7%, or if you are in a townhouse or a condo and your value went up 1% or higher, then you might want to take a look at it because you might be paying a higher percentage of the city's taxes than you should be. If you're in the Lower Mainland and you're like, okay, well, what are my percentages for Burnaby or Coquitlam or Vancouver? I haven't done the math on all of them, but I'm happy to. If you leave a comment below and you tell me whether you're in a condo, townhome, or house, and which city in the Lower Mainland you are, I will be happy to figure out the percentage for you and get back to you. So, okay, you're going to contest. What do you need to know? The deadline is January 31st. If you're gonna do this, you need to do this very quickly. The next thing is, once you apply, what are they gonna wanna know? And what they're gonna want are comparables that show that where they think your value is not in line with the value today. Now, you can't take recent sales, what sold in the last month or two, because that's not when they did the math. They did the math beginning of July. This can be hard to get. So what I would like to offer to you for free, no obligation, if you are going to contest your home and you need help gathering some sales from around July 1st that are similar to yours that you can show to tell the government that they're out of line with what they think your value is, I will leave a link to my website below. I'll gather some comparable sales that will help you make your case. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more real estate info about New Westminster. And if you have questions or things that you'd like me to cover in a future video, I would love to hear from you. Please leave a comment down below and have a great day.